Well, are you ready to make the best tortilla soup in the world? That's not just my opinion, but that's the opinion of hundreds of people. People have told me face to face, and I've had dozens and dozens of emails and letters from people saying this was absolutely the best tortilla soup they've ever had. Now, some people ask me how I came up with this recipe. Well, a few years back, I used to go to a restaurant, Mexican restaurant here in El Paso called Charlie's. And I would order the tortilla soup, and the first time I had it was delicious. And I asked the waiter, what's this smoky, kind of hot taste? And he told me it was the chipotle peppers. I'd never heard of a chipotle pepper. Later on, I found out it was a smoked jalapeno, usually found in adobo sauce. And so I would occasionally go to the restaurant, order the tortilla soup, loved it, and then the restaurant closed up. Well, I couldn't be without this tortilla soup. So I pulled out my Mexican cookbook, trying to figure out if I can get a recipe like Charlie's. And I found a base recipe in the Mexican cookbook. And then I thought, what if I add chipotle pepper, some chicken, garnish it with avocados? Maybe it will taste like Charlie's. And sure enough, I made it, and it was better than Charlie's. My family loved it. Our church family loves it. In fact, they have it once a month at our church, and it always sells out. Now, here's what we're going to do. We start off with the tomato base. So what we want to do is put a can of whole tomatoes inside a blender, and then one onion cut up a little bit. You don't need to really chop it since it's going to already be blended in the blender. And then you get 3 tablespoons of cilantro. And you always make sure it's fresh cilantro that you get in the grocery store. I never measured the 3 tablespoons. It's just something like about like this. Put it in there. And then you want 2 cloves of garlic. I didn't have fresh ones, so I'm using granulated. And then you get a ½ teaspoon of sugar. You put it there. Now, the secret ingredient, you know what it is. It's chipotle pepper. Now, I'm telling you, don't think the tortilla soup is going to taste good without it. I've had people write to me, and they've told me, you know, Pastor, I tried making it with green chili, regular jalapenos. It doesn't taste the same, and they're right. It will not taste the same without chipotle pepper. This is the secret ingredient. So you want to make sure you put it in your soup. Now, there's 2 ways to put it. You can go ahead and put it directly into the blender and have the blender mix the whole chipotle pepper inside the soup, or you can go ahead put it inside the soup whole and just have it kind of floating in the soup. It kind of looks cool that way. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put it in the blender. I found out that it's a lot easier to do it this way, and it kind of makes the soup a little bit hotter. Now, people often ask, how many chipotle peppers do I put? I would recommend 2 to 3 chipotle peppers, okay? And we just so happen to have that. Now, be careful. I've had one person wrote to me and didn't pay attention to the recipe, and they put the entire can of chipotle pepper. That's like about 12 chipotle pepper. She said it was so hot that her husband called it exorcism soup. So be careful. I've come up with 2 to 3, and I found out that that's pretty much what most people can tolerate. So I think 2 to 3 chipotle peppers with a little adobo sauce should suit most people. Now, if you're like me, I like it hot. So what I do is I have some extra chipotle pepper, put it on the table, and then I'll put a chipotle pepper with the soup, in my own bowl, so that I won't burn everybody else, but I like it hot. So it depends what you like, okay? So what we're going to go ahead and do, and by the way, this is a brand new blender. I had to get one because mine broke down. So I don't know, this is the first time to use this one. Let's put it a little bit higher. Gonna slow up a little bit. You want to do it for about 30 seconds or so, until it gets kind of thick still. And that should do it. Now that's our tomato base. So we're going to put it with, of course, the chicken broth. And now that's the other secret to the tortilla soup, is your chicken broth. Now people can make chicken broth all sorts of ways. They can go ahead and put 8 cans of chicken broth right out of the can. Well, I found that I kind of like it a little bit saltier, more saltier than what these cans do it. So what I do is I actually put 3 tablespoons, flat tablespoons of chicken bouillon, granulated chicken bouillon. This is a big one, as you can tell. You know that we make a lot of chicken tortilla soup in our family. And this lasts for about a couple of years, but it's already almost empty, so we'll have to get some more. But anyway, what I'll do is I'll put 3 tablespoons inside the water. And I'll have maybe about 7 cups of water and chicken bouillon, and then I'll mix maybe 1 can to make it a little bit richer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and put this over here in the soup. And you make it as salty as you want it, but I kind of like it salty. And then we gotta mix it there. And then let's get the water heating up now, all right? So now what we're gonna do, oh, and don't forget, we wanna go ahead and put that little chicken broth. So what it is 8 cups of chicken broth, okay? So you make the chicken broth whichever way you make it, it'll do fine. And it's that simple. Now what we're going to do is put the tomato base. This is the first time that I use this blender, so I just want to make sure it looks good. And it does look good. All right. So what we're going to do is put the tomato base with the chicken broth. And notice there's still some left in there. And I found out that you need to go ahead, rinse it out. And besides, you need probably a little bit more water, maybe another ½ cup. Otherwise, it's going to be too tomatoey. And you don't want the soup to be too tomato. I still got some more. This is so good. I want to make sure I clean this blender out. All right. Is that simple or what? That leaves us with just 1 ingredient left, and that's the chicken. You just need about 1.5 pounds of chicken. Now, that's my view, but my wife, she loves chicken. So she makes me put more chicken in. So we're actually putting 2 pounds of chicken, but I think 1.5 pounds is enough. And we're going to put it inside the broth. Now people ask me all the time, do you cook the chicken before you put it? No, it's not necessary. The chicken broth, as it's boiling, will cook your chicken. Make sure, however, you use chicken breast. I tried using dark meat. It didn't work. For some reason, it just didn't have the right texture. It seemed a little bit tough, and I used dark meat to not only save a little money, but I kind of like dark meat, like on fried chicken, but it doesn't work with my tortilla soup. You need to use chicken breast, and that's it, friends. I put everything in there. Is that about as simple as you can get? Now we're gonna boil it. Once it starts boiling, look at the clock and time 20 minutes. 20 minutes, your tortilla soup will be ready. So we're gonna be back in 20 minutes to show you how we put the tortilla soup in the bowl. All right, I think the tortilla soup is ready. Let's bring it out of here and let's take a look at the product here. Woo! Oh my goodness, that smells delicious. Now what we're gonna do, this is rather simple. We're gonna go ahead and take some tortilla chips. We're gonna put it in the bowls here. And then we're going to go ahead and put Monterey Jack cheese. I recommend Monterey Jack above all the others. Cheddar cheese is kind of orange, and it doesn't contrast very well with this kind of little reddish tortilla soup. So I recommend doing that. And then we're going to go ahead and garnish it with some avocados. We like lots of avocados, at least our family does. And do you remember I told you that for me, I like it extra hot? So for mine, I'm gonna go ahead and throw in another chipotle pepper for me. Well, let's just pour it in. And now the final, we're gonna go ahead and ladle the soup and see how it looks. And I know, oh, it's already looking good. It's smelling delicious. Let's get some sauce in there. Oh, look at this. Does that look good? Now, if you want, you can always put a little sour cream on top of the soup if that's what you like. But our family, we don't like it. It actually cools it down and kind of takes away from the hot chipotle. But if you like sour cream, then God bless you. Enjoy it. Now, before I leave, I want to remind you of this very important word. Man shall not live by tortilla soup alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. Enjoy the soup. But remember to put the Word of God first. Also, this is a original recipe. I would love to hear from you. Give me a little buzz. Email me. Tell me what you thought about the soup, and I'll respond to you. Anyway, God bless you. I hope you enjoyed the soup. See you next time.